Thanks. So even before we jump into the actual drill, like we have some questions that we always ask. And so just if you can tell me about yourself, then I'll tell you what we're doing. So you'll just get to know us.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want just career, personal, anything, anything in particular?
And whatever you'd like. I just want to get to know you. It's not even for the sake of the interview,
Oh,
just
cool.
for us to get
Oh,
to know
yeah.
each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No problem, Roy. Well, I appreciate it. First and foremost, so right now I'm actually on paternity leave, which is great. We just had our second child, which we had a little girl. So
Wow.
now we have a 2-year-old boy and a little girl. So we're
Oh wow. Can I ask
couldn't
for their
be.
names?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't like to share that stuff as
Sure.
well.
Sure. No, just
Yeah. But yeah. So we're yeah. So we have 2 kids right now.
congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. Things are really great. So
Yeah.
right now I'm on, like I said, I'm on paternity leave. I'm currently an account manager at Dooley. I don't know if you're familiar with Dooley or not, but Series B company help with pretty much making sales reps more efficient with their time. I'm the first account manager, so it's really my job to build out the entire account management process. So I'm working very closely with customer success and in sales, working together to cross-sell, upsell, retain customers. So very busy with that. I just started that a little bit before my paternity leave, so was working really hard there. Before that, I was at Vidyard, so I got a lot of experience selling in the video space. And before that, I was a full cycle account manager for the first 3 years of my career. So I did a lot of the prospecting early on, and then it switched from prospecting to maintenance and renewals and all of that stuff. So I got a great experience there. And then outside of all of that, I host a podcast. I don't know if you saw that or not. It's the 20% podcast. Are you familiar with the 80-20 rule?
80-20 rule, yeah, I am.
Yeah. So essentially what I want to do is I studied exercise science in college, but then I fell into the sales world, most like everybody else. Right. But what I wanted to do is I literally picked my college major sitting on my parents' couch. And really what I wanted to do was I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career actually. So now I want to interview people across a variety of industries so that I could share what these people do, what's successful, and open the doors or open the eyes of people who maybe want a career change, who have a kid who doesn't know what they want to do. So it's I'm all about the transferability of skills. So what you'll hear a lot about from me is, I studied exercise science, but I learned so much that I could use in my current job today and my sales jobs that I had growing up. I used, there's so many different skills. I worked in retail. I worked in produce at the store. I worked, construction. My dad's a construction worker. So I've done a variety of different things, but all of those skills transfer into the sales rep that I am today. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool. So first of all, thanks for sharing. Sounds like quite of a journey that you've made.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's so great.
Happy for you. Cool. So let's about us, just for you to get to know us before we jump into our session. And we're barista, early stage company. I founded it with my childhood friend Oren, and we're building a personalized discovery tool for reps to help reps do better discoveries. And it could be also for customer success and account managers. As you know, like discovery is an ongoing thing. You don't end it in the first call with your prospect, and you always need to discover more things about your client. And that is why we want to get your thoughts about it. So I have some pre-baked questions, and I'd be happy to start. It's okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
Cool. So I'm happy for you. You're going to be our first interviewee in what we call Sales Brew. It's something that we're going to post from time to time, interviewing reps about discovery calls. So maybe the first one is, what's the biggest challenge on the discovery call?
I think the biggest challenge for a rep, I think, is, well, number one, outside of just building rapport with that customer, I think it's really important that you need to go into a discovery call and make sure that you have your research done. You need to know about the company. You need to know about the person that you're talking to. and the reason why you're actually having the conversation. If you had a discovery call, that means that there was some prior step in order to get that call. So we need to make sure that we're setting the table and understanding exactly what it is that why we're having this call, and make sure that it's crystal clear on the pain that they're trying to solve or the area that they're trying to improve. And then make sure that every single thing that we do throughout the course of the call, we are always tying it back to that pain. And I think it's really important to know that pain first and foremost, and know it crystal clear, because later on in the sales process, as you mentioned, we're always discovering if for whatever reason we're in the middle of this, later on trying to close, you start closing in the discovery. Because if somebody says, I don't really necessarily want to, or maybe I'm not going to move forward with this solution. Well, I don't understand, Roy. Could you help me explain this a little further? Because what you mentioned, your primary pain was A, B, and C. And I feel like we did a very good job of explaining that, and over time, what happened essentially, right? If we know very deeply about what that pain is, and if we could align to that pain very well, then that's going to help us win more business, help them as a company. But also, if we're in a situation where the customer doesn't go with us, it gives us that ammo to say, could you help me understand this? Because we could do exactly what you're looking to do, right?
Cool. So I totally hear you. Like, as a buyer, I hate when I'm being asked questions that I know the sales rep could just know before that. I really like to get on with the buying process, and it totally helps uncover pains if you do a proper research in advance.
And that's one of the other points as well, Roy. And you mentioned a really great point. It's, don't ask a question that you could already have the answer to yourself. You need to go in there. I look at sales as almost like being a doctor, right? Obviously we just had a baby a couple weeks ago, so very familiar with, obviously a bunch of different doctor's appointments here and there in the hospital. And a lot of the time the doctor comes in or the nurse comes in and they have an idea of exactly what's going on. And they look at you, they're not asking you, hey, so what, but yeah, they confirm your name just from a liability standpoint, but they're not asking this basic information that they should already know that you should know. So we need to be looking at like that in the same way as a seller, right? We do not need, and that's another great way to build trust and rapport, right? People don't ever question if a doctor is going to come in and try to be shifty or shady. If they come in and say, hey, Roy, I understand this, this, and this, I just want to ask a couple follow-up questions to really just make sure that we're getting to the root of this problem so that we can help provide us a really good solution to help solve that. That's sales 101. And we need to do a better job of not asking those questions, those redundant questions up front.
Totally hear you. So given the importance of discovery, I'm curious, are you demoing on first calls?
So typically, let's say if it's a 30-minute call, or even if it's a 60-minute call, typically what I do is the short answer is yes. And I don't want to necessarily say that it's, that I'm diving in full speed. What I want to do is I want to make sure that we have that open conversation first. I'm not sharing my screen out. I'm not doing any of that stuff until we have the meat and potatoes of exactly what we need to do. But then, yeah, I will demo on the first call towards the end typically. But I'll typically set that up with the customer and with the expectation of getting that next step while I'm already in there. So, right at the beginning of a discovery call, I'll say to a customer, hey, Roy, really what the purpose of our call was, and you tell me if there's anything that I missed with this. The reason that we're talking is A, B, and C. But what I want to do is, I have some understanding of what you guys are doing, and I'm happy to share what I know. Would like to ask a couple more follow-up questions there, make sure that we're on the same page and we want to continue moving forward. And then what I'll do is I'll actually just give you a quick 10,000 foot overview of those most important things that you're actually looking to accomplish. Now, we're not going to necessarily get into every single thing that we need to know about this. I just want to give you a little taste or a feel of exactly what you like. Typically from there, what happens, these calls typically go one of two ways. Number one, if you do like what we're showing, then we'll usually schedule a more deeper dive call with one of our engineers, or really kind of put them, whatever your next step is there, right? But if it's not, we want to make sure that we're uncovering that as well. So yes, the short answer is I do demo on a first call. It's typically that 10,000 foot view so that they just get a taste of what they're doing. Almost like a free sample essentially, and then saying, hey, do we want to move forward or do we not? Because a no in moving forward is just as important, because I don't want to spend any more time on discovery or any other bringing extra resources into that call, because that's just wasting time and effort and money on my company side of things. So we want to be as efficient as possible, and that's a duty of the sales rep as well.
Yeah, I understand. We found ourselves also demoing from time to time on the first call, and we call it like demo discovery. When you first ask some questions to uncover and reveal the pains of your clients before you actually showing them features that they might not be interested in.
Right. But the other important thing, though, is to make sure that you're not stopping once those questions are done. When you're still demoing, you need to make sure that you're having those conscious check-ins with the customer. Hey, does this make sense? And I know that this is a little bit more demo 101 or demo 201, yeah. but just back to the discovery part, is there is so much valuable information that you need to continue to get throughout the course of the sales cycle, or throughout the demo, I should say, that's going to help excel and expedite your sales cycle. So continuing discovering demo, disco demo, however you want to call it, is really important in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So like, we're not just about sharing wins. So I want to hear from you, like, what was the worst discovery call you've ever made, if you can recall?
Yeah, you know what? There's, obviously there's bad calls. Unfortunately, bad calls happen, even if you're prepared. And sometimes the other ones happen when you're not prepared. And, I would probably say some of the worst calls just in general that I've been on, and this obviously has excelled over time. Just making sure that I actually do my research and know who I'm talking to. There's been a couple times, even early, it's typically early when I would be working with a company, or earlier in my days, I should say, of really just wanting to just go and show the product. So not really diving deep into that problem. It's almost like a dog chasing after a tennis ball or something, right? You hear that one pain point and you want to jump right into the demo and show them how you could solve that, right? So I don't have a great example of just one specific scenario of that, but it's happened time to time again where you get those happy ears as a sales rep. And it's typically when you're a younger sales rep as well, where you're saying, oh man, I need to take a step back. I need to relax here. Let's not just chase after that pain point. Let's dive into that pain point instead of trying to run after it. Asking that second or third question is going to be essential. So, the worst discovery calls that I've run are ones where I didn't do as much research as I needed to, or the ones where I hear one or two pain points without even asking the question further, and diving right into a demo. That's usually a bad idea. And those are the ones where you don't win either.
Cool. So let's flip the coin and let's ask like a more positive question. What's the best question you're asking in the discovery call? Question that is a must-have.
The best question, I would say that besides knowing exactly what the pain is, and there's not one particular question that's going to get that specifically. You don't want to just go in there and say, hey, what's the pain, right? Which or what keeps you up at night? Oh, that just drives me nuts when people ask that. And then I say, my two children keep me up at night, right? No, but I mean, so the best question that I've ever asked a client, I think it's what is the main, what are they trying to accomplish with this call or with this solution? I know it's really vague and really simple, but there's so many people as sales reps that want to just sell what they want to sell, or sell what their spiff is currently, or what's the biggest promotion that their company is trying to run, versus actually understanding full-fledged what that customer is looking to solve for, or what's in it for them too. It's not only just what's the problem that they have. That's just a surface level area potentially, right? Oh yeah, we need to solve this pain point. But to move the deal forward, or even to just get further or build more rapport with that customer, it's going to be the question that I ask next is, well, how does that affect your job? What happens if that doesn't happen, right? Really trying to understand personally, because Roy's not going to make a purchasing decision unless it's personal to him and he has some kind of stake or have some kind of gain to win or some kind of loss to avert. So those are probably the biggest questions. My biggest question that I go into any single call is, what does a successful call look like to you, so that we can learn what those next steps are. And the other big thing is, what is that actual pain, that not asking it that specifically, right? But really understanding crystal clear, what are we helping them solve for? Because then too, that helps in my account management. This is what I'm seeing at Dooley as well as I'm just starting is, there's a number of different pains that we could solve.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the time, customers are only buying to solve one or two, maybe three tops main problems, but they don't understand all of those other areas that we could help with. And a lot of those other areas also fall into different departments. So as an account manager, it's a really essential part of my job to understand what the pain is that we're solving for and why they actually bought us. Because I need to determine what is the current state of this customer and where's the potential upside. And I can't find out and quantify what that potential upside is of that customer if I don't know what we're currently buying. And it's so important because if I don't know what we're buying, I don't know what the upside is. And then if I don't know what the upside is, how am I going to know where to prioritize my time? There's not enough time in the day. If I know what that white space is or what that potential upside is, if I could go try to win a Best Buy or a Walmart, and these aren't target customers, but just those bigger ones versus the mom and pop shop right down the corner, there's probably a higher upside to make more money or bring more revenue in for the company by working with those bigger ones. And you don't know that unless you know exactly what the pain is now and where you could potentially bring that customer later on.
Cool. See, so I agree. Like I find myself ask questions at the first call, a very simple one. It's actually, what piqued your interest to actually hop on a call with me? Whether I emailed him as an outbound lead or like he requested a demo. So like, why did you do so? Why did you answer my mail? And then like they start to reveal the pain that they thought based on the messaging we put there. And so I found it successful.
Yeah. And the big thing there is you're asking an open-ended question, making not just, not yes or no's. It's why are we here essentially, right?
Yeah. And so like two more questions. I think like the first one is something you like to say. What do you love most about sales?
Man, the thing I love, number one, it's just really a goal and mission of mine to get more people to go to the sales profession and really flip the script on how sales professionals are looked at. Yeah, there's sales reps and there's sales professionals. There's a lot of people that think of like the used car saleswoman or salesman who is a shifty, shady person just trying to do whatever it takes to get their quota done. But I'm interested in what I love most about sales is truly helping people solve problems that are going to help them with their job. And the other thing too is that the way that you need to do that, and the other best part about being in sales is really being passionate about what you're actually selling. Because when you're passionate about a problem that you're solving, then you could have that emotion in your voice and you could say, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from. And this is exactly how we help this. If you're able to talk with conviction, I think sales is, John Barrows taught me this, is that sales is just the transfer of enthusiasm. So when you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, that's essential. So the thing that I love most about sales is working with a diverse group of people, obviously working across the world with different people. So you're meeting people on that scale. But the other thing is really just being able to solve problems. Always been somebody who likes to solve problems and puzzles, and really sales is just putting that round peg in the round hole, and really helping to solve that problem is really rewarding for me. And then obviously it's nice to the other favorite part about sales is making money. And the reason that making money, and it's not even to just say, oh yeah, I have this nice car or I have this house. I'm motivated, and my why is my family. It is to make sure that I'm giving them the experiences that I can to give them the best life that we possibly can. And the way that you do that is by having the financial means to do so. But then my question is, how do you get those financial means? You need to sell more. So it all comes back to when you're really aligned on that, why am I actually doing this? It reverts back to everything, and it makes your job, it makes being a sales professional that much more fulfilling to me, because I know that I'm doing it to help my family and to give them those experiences. And then I get to meet amazing people along the way who love to help me, and just the sales community together just rises with the tides, and really, I've met so many incredible people that way who just want to help each other. And those are some of my favorite things about sales.
Love that. And especially the point about being passionate about what you're trying to sell. Like my co-founder and we're always talking about that our superpower in founding led sales It's just we're passionate about the solution we're building. So it's something that I believe every account executive that's joining a company should ask himself or herself. Do I believe in this vision? Do I believe in the solution? Do I understand the problem of the prospect? So totally agree.
And the biggest thing about why that's so important is that when you face a tough time, when you have an obstacle or you can't solve a problem or something, when you are passionate and you do love what you're doing, that's going to push you through whatever you need to do to get through that. For me, like, I don't love, nobody really loves making cold calls. I kind of do actually, but that's besides the point. What it comes down to though, is that, you need to be really, really passionate, about what you're doing. So that's, that's kind of where that's at.
Yeah. And last one, how do you like your coffee?
I like my coffee black. And it's funny. I didn't like coffee a long time ago. Actually only a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years. When my wife and I started dating, I never drank coffee. So I don't know if it's being in sales started me drinking coffee or if it was grad school, late nights. Over time, I used to drink a ton. I used to love it with a ton of creamer because I didn't love the taste of coffee. And over time, it's just, you get a good tasting coffee. And now it's just, I drink it black.
Cool. Like a Google American.
Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, Tyler. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Was that everything you needed? Was there any other questions, any other sales, and anything like that?
Yeah, so I think like now, like to wrap it up, like this was our like what we're sharing, and so just for next step, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me know if you have any problems. I'll try to edit the record and see if it's like even I don't have a cool microphone like yours and things. So sometimes like it's not really shareable, the video. So what I'm doing, I'll transcribe it and I'll like write it down, the questions and your answers, and I'll before I publish it in our blog, I'll send it to you for approval, if it's okay with you. And
Yeah.
then when we'll share it on our company page, I'd be happy for you to share it as well, and with the recording or without. Really depends on the it depends on the quality of the recording, unfortunately. When we'll raise our Series A round, I'll be able to have a recording session and everything.
Hey man, no, that's no problem at all, man. And I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing. Obviously, it's cool, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me and asking for my thoughts on this stuff. Obviously, I'm sure you could probably tell with my answers, I am really passionate about sales.
Yeah, I know. I actually got you through your personal brand, I must say. Like I saw your content, liked it, followed it, loved it, and reached out. Like this is how it's done. Like I truly believe in personal brand, and you're certainly building yours. So
awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate it. Let me know